to my channel for this week's Code With Me video. So today we'll be tackling this algorithm challenge, this kata, on codewars.com. I'll post a link to this particular problem down in the description. Feel free to pause this video and then go and attempt this problem yourself, and then you can come back and see how I tried to solve this. And I'm doing all of this coding live. You'll see me going through the process, adding code, deleting code, and all of that. So let's look at today's problem. Given an array of integers of any length, return an array that has one added to the value represented by the array. The array can't be empty. Only non-negative single-digit integers are allowed. Return nil or your language's equivalent for invalid inputs. Okay, so the array can't be empty, and it has to be non-negative single-digit. Okay. Examples, the array 239 equals 239. Adding 1 will return the array 240. Okay. So I always like to start off by just writing out in words how I would solve this step by step, and then going back and adding in the code. And the comments kind of guide me through it. So I think the first thing we want to do is we want to change this array into a string, and then we can change the string to an integer. So I'm going to just write array to string to integer. And I know JavaScript gets very integer, if I can spell. JavaScript gets very weird with numbers and type conversions. So we'll see how this goes. Okay, so after this step, that means we'll have an integer. So now we need to create a variable and make it equal to integer plus 1. New var equals int plus 1. Okay, let me just call this int. All right, so now we have an integer that is int plus 1. So now we need to change the int back into a string and then back into an array. That feels wonky, but let's consider it. Okay. But now we need to also look at these cases. The array can't be empty. So first we want to check array. Check and our length. If empty, check our length. If empty, what we want to do, return null. Okay. Only non-negative single-digit integers are allowed. Okay. And then I guess we should also loop through the array, and if any number is loop through R, if any is less than 0, is neg, or more than 1 digit, return nil. Okay. All right, so and then in this case, return array. Okay, so let's see what is happening with this. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is check array length. If r.length is equal to 0, we're just going to return null. Okay. All right. So I'll add that comment so that it goes together with that code. Next, we're going to loop through R. If any is neg, return null. Okay. So let's see how the best way to do this. I was thinking of for each. Yeah, so let me create some variables. Okay, so var has negatives. That's going to equal to false. Oh, I've been working in too much Go. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to create these flags, and then I'm going to use for each to loop through the array and set these to true if they ever become true. So r dot for each num if num is less than 0, we want to return. Oh, we want has negatives to equal true. Else if num dot length is greater than 1, we want to have multi-digit to equal to true. Okay, so I have some JavaScript documentation already pulled up because I figured I would need it at some point. And what I want to do is I want to check this line that I just wrote. I don't know if you can actually do length on a number, just if you could do that. So let me see. Honestly, it might be quicker to just go into my console and try something out really quick. 9 dot length. Okay, so that is not a thing. Let's see. Integers, right? Or is it called number? Okay. So, oh yeah, there is parse int. Parses a string and returns an integer. Okay, so that's what we'll need in a little bit. Finding the length of a number. Okay. Okay. Well, let me just use this really quickly. If I make const 9 is equal to 9, and then console.log 9.length, it should do it, right? 4. Okay, so I think that's what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to do number to string and then length. Number to string that length is greater than 1. Okay. And then we can say if has negatives or has multi-digit, then we want to return null. Okay. So now we're at a point where we can do the conversion of array to string to integer so that we can start to increment it by 1. All right, so let's make a new array called, I'm bad with naming things, R to increase, well, actually it's going to be an int to increase. Int to increase. Okay, so we're going to say R dot join, because that will make the array into a string. That will, ooh, will it? Okay. Just want to test this out. R, let's say it's going to be equal to 1, 2, 3. If we do R dot join, what will that give us? Okay, so it'll give us the string. Okay, that's what we want. Okay, and then we want to, from the string, we want for a string, it's like, not, it's the opposite of parse int. To string. Okay, I think it's actually a standalone function. I think so. So let me, yeah, I want to say it's like this. Let's see, console.log parse. Is it just parse? 1. Let's see what happens. Okay, is it parse int? Okay, so it's parse int just by itself. It's not a method. Okay. So we'll wrap this whole thing inside of a parse int so that we get an integer. Parse int. Okay. So then let's go ahead and make it incremented by 1 while we're here. Okay, so our int plus 1. Okay. And now we have the increased integer that we need to get back into an array. So we can say int to increase, which is currently a number or an integer that we need to do toString on, and then we can split it into an array. Okay, and then, okay, let's call this a new thing. Let R equal. Okay, or actually we don't need to. We can just return this whole thing. Don't need to make a new variable. Okay. So let me run through what I just wrote. So the problem was you're given an array of integers and you need to increment it by 1. But first you need to check for these cases. The array cannot be empty. So if the length is equal to 0, return null. And then also we're saying that we need to loop through every single digit in the array and check if it's negative, is it less than 0, and is it more than 1 digit. So if any of those things are true, then we have these flags that we can set to true. And then we can check if either of these flags are true. If it has a negative number or a multiple digit, then we need to return null. Okay. And then going back to the problem of looking at an array and incrementing it by 1, we wanted to take the array, turn it into a string, parse it into an integer, and then increment it by 1. And then with this new number, we need to get it back into an array. So we're saying we're going to take this number, we're going to make it into a string, and then we're going to call split because that's the method that can create an array. if I'm remembering my JavaScript right. So let me go ahead and test this and see what happens. Ooh. Okay, so it looks like I got back the right numbers, but I have this character. Ooh, okay. Okay, so what is adding this little character? All right, I'm going to add some console log statements, and so that I can kind of figure out what's going on. Let's see. All right, so all of this code is just returning null for invalid cases. So whatever is going wrong is probably somewhere around here. It might be the parse int. Let's see. Okay, so the split is not working as expected, right? Because split should actually return an array where every single element is like, where every digit is its own element in the array. So that seems to not be happening. So let me look into split a bit more. So we know that that is a method on a string. So let me go look for strings. String.split. Okay, so it looks like you actually need to pass in open space. Okay, that makes sense because split is looking for where do you want to split this string at, and I think I put comma, and so it never sees a comma, so it's just like returning this whole thing. All right, so let's actually just do blank, and let's see how that goes. Okay, we're getting there. We have everything broken down into elements in the array, but we still have these weird little characters. What is up with that? So, okay, so it looks like, oh, you know what? All right, so toString splits it into a string, right? But I'm not actually going back and changing each element into an integer. So split will give us strings because this integer has been changed into a string. So I need to map actually every single element in this array. It needs to be a number. It needs to be transformed into a number. So, all right, num. And then we're going to return parse int num. Okay, so that should take every single element in the array of all of these strings and parse them into integers. So let's see if that works. Yay! That is what did it. All right, so I want to click attempt on this program. When you click attempt, it runs it through even more test cases than just these three. So let's see if our code holds up to more strenuous testing. Oh, so close. Okay, which one did it not like? Oh. So it's storing not a numbers for something. Okay. And then storing. Okay, I wish I could tell which cases this was. Okay. 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 So 2 failed. Invalid arrays. Basic test. Okay, invalid arrays that pass. Log big arrays. Okay. It makes it hard to tell which case has, so it was just random tests, okay. And handled rejection. Okay. So 922236703685477. Ooh, I got 6 instead of 5. And then 000. Okay. So, okay. Why would that happen? I think it's just how JavaScript handles numbers, honestly. Whenever you're doing like parse int, I think parse int takes another, it's a function. I think it takes another argument. Let me see. No. Where would I find that? It's not under built-in object. Okay, parse int JavaScript. Maybe empty. No, it's its own built-in object. Okay, so you give it a string and then you parse it. But you need to give it a base. Or a radix. It does not default to 10. Okay, I think. Okay. Oh, I don't feel like reading all of this. But I think let's just pass in 10 and see what happens. I thought it defaulted to 10, and it looks like that is not the case. Oh, need to 2. Okay, same issue. Huh. Okay. Let me do a time check. Okay. I am stuck on this. I think it's because of this parse int. Um, hmm. When do you use not 10? Okay. Let's see. So, looks like it was. 7, 7, and then it got 5. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, it's a big number. Let's see. No, that's not. Parse. No, it's not a decimal. Okay. Okay. Maybe it's something to do with big int. Maybe it's something to do with big int. I'm not sure. We could. Okay, I think I know what I'm gonna do. It is hacky, but I think it will work for now. Okay, so we want to keep all of this code, but first we want to do a check. If our dot length is greater than, let's say, where does it start to fill? It starts to fill right here. So that is 0. Well, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay. So let's just say if the length is greater than 14, what we're going to do is we're going to say let R1 equal we want to get just a substring of the array. Well, if it was a string, I would say substring. Maybe it's either slice or splice. Okay. So slice 2, you get caramel. Okay, so what if I just wanted ant to caramel? I would probably do 0, 2, 2. Let's see. Ant bison. So yeah, you would do 3 to get. Okay, so, and I also want to make sure animals itself hasn't been mutated. So let me console out animals down here. And it should equal this original array. Let me just. Yes, okay. So 0 to 3. So we're going to say slice 0 to 14. Okay. And then what if I wanted duck and elephant? I would have to say 3, just 3 to the end. Let's see. Well, that could be duck and elephant. Okay, yep. Okay, then we'll say let R2 equal R slice 14. Okay. So I'm going to just copy this up here. I'm going to get rid of these comments. Well, yeah, I don't want to cause confusion. Okay. So now this is just going to be on R2. This is going to be called big int to increase. So we're just going to increase this second slice by 1. And then we're going to combine the arrays. So, well, okay, so let's combine array. Let combine array equal combine R equal, okay. Okay, I think that is how I would do that. Okay, and then we want to say combine. Well, actually, let's just go ahead and do that. Okay, so we're saying we're going to split it. We're going to map. Okay, and then we're going to return that. Okay. Okay. Oh, so we're just going to do what we were doing previously. Okay, let me just check this and see. Okay. All right, so that fixed one of the problems. All right, so instead of dealing with the big integer, I just split it into, instead of dealing with the big array that represented a big integer, I just split it into 2, but we're still getting NaNA for, let's see, so 3 from the back. Expected. Why would 5 and 4 give back nan? Well, how many digits is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 35, 36, 36. Okay. Okay. Oh. Yeah, it's basically the same thing. Too many, this array's too big, so we need to split it up some more. We could probably use recursion, like if we were going to clean this up. But for now, let's just add another case. So in and r dot length is, I guess, less than 28. Okay, then we'll say else if this r dot length is greater than 28. We're going to do the same thing, but three. Okay. Size is equal to 28. Okay. Then we're going to say R3 right here. And then we're going to concat R2. Let's see. Boom. Everything passed. Okay. Okay. So we could, if I were to actually refactor this code, I would look into doing something recursive for these cases. And then obviously just cleaning up the syntax a bit. But basically at a high level, what the solution is doing is we're handling the invalid cases. So we're checking if the array is empty, if it has any negative or more than one digits that are greater than 1. And then we're just returning null for those cases. And then we're saying, okay, we need to actually look at the length of the array. If it's between 14 and 28 characters, we're going to split it into 2 arrays. And we're only going to increment the second part of the array, the latter half. And then we're saying if the array is even greater than 28, then we're going to split it into 3 pieces, and we're only going to increment the third piece, and then we're going to append all or concat all of the pieces of the array together to form one, to return one single array. And then we're saying if it's not bigger than 14 or 28, then we can just use one array and do the same logic. So another thing that we could do is we could probably break some of this out into separate functions and use a more approach with more composition. So that's another thing that we could do. But this is the solution. I will post a link to this particular problem in the description down below. If you haven't tried it already, I highly suggest you give it a go. Thanks again for watching my video. I post these types of videos every week, so give me a like if you like it, and subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Goodbye.